Maimed, killed himself, someone else, with an act like that, and also the acknowledgement that, as you said, he's a star. I mean, he has an incredibly huge following. Yeah. And that my concern, and I thought he shared with me, that millions, if not tens of millions of kids globally would see him as having done something that was celebrating in a way. I at least was left with the sense that he was taking this incredibly seriously. So honestly, I was shocked when I saw this weekend that video. Now, we're in the process of investigating it, and we'll figure out exactly what happened to the best we can then. It's the video's a bit grainy and all that, but I'm assuming the worst, but we'll figure out, exactly what happened there.
In the wake of Adam Silver's interview with ESPN, Ja Morant released a statement through his representatives. This is his first public comment since the video was posted over the weekend. Quote, "I know I've disappointed a lot of people who have supported me. This is a journey, and I recognize there is more work to do. My words may not mean much right now, but I take full accountability for my actions. I'm committed to continuing to work on myself."
So those words fall on deaf ears for me. And as much as I appreciate Ja and his team making a statement, I hear you, but I don't see you. I rather see your actions than hear your words at this point. And I firmly believe, Key, that a guy like Ja needs a life coach, a third party that can rock with him, that can be there with him wherever he goes, just for an extended period of time to help him process decisions in his life. I would actually recommend that for a lot of draftees. You're making millions of dollars. I wish I had had something like that, a third party that can help me process and deal with things, and somebody I can consult with when times got rough and dealing with fame and making money and not feeling that I could live a normal life. I also would like to address something that Adam Silver said, because I think it's a private institution, and the NBA has the right to do whatever they want to do as it relates to suspension. And I think it would probably deem around maybe 25, 35 games for Ja. Kids seeing kids with guns and being a role model, I think, is such a bigger point. And I understand that Adam is thinking through the prism of the NBA and young players being role models and examples. But I don't want to lose sight, Key, that as it relates to examples, we have a lot of other different examples in this country. And I also don't want all the attention to be on this young black man that all of a sudden he has to be better for everybody all the time, when we have other examples of individuals, politicians, and other people that are doing the same thing. If you talk about whether that's pictures on Christmas cards, things of that sort, pumping out different notions around how they feel about gun responsibility. So I just wanted to state that, Key, because I don't want all the weight to fall on this young man soldier, and all of a sudden he's being the pinpoint example of issues with it, when there's a lot of bigger issues we have with it. I just wanted to state that.
Go ahead, Key. I want to respond to that, but go ahead, Key. I'll do it after you, Key.
The statement doesn't fall on deaf ears for me. I'm fine with it. They have to respond to something. They have to respond. He can't sit and be idle and on mute. The one thing that I take from the statement is he says that he's continuing to work on himself, and he's committed to doing that. This is not an overnight fix. So I do appreciate him, as of now, recognizing that he needs to continue, whatever it is, the commitment, whatever help you say, Jay, he needs, okay, whether he's a life coach, whatever the case, it's a commitment to continue to work on that behavior, whatever that behavior is. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's something that is, I don't want to say bothering him, but it's something that he is seeking, whatever that is. If he continues to work on getting better to fix whatever problems that there is, then yeah, you look to it and you go, okay, show me. He hasn't shown us yet, but this is still new. And it doesn't mean that it's not a process. People that have certain issues in life, they have to work on them to get better at them. It just doesn't happen overnight. So I'm okay with him taking full accountability and saying that he needs to commit to continue to commit to doing the right things. I'm okay with that 100%.
He's got to say something.
That is the way. But it's not about saying something, Max. It's about whether or not he is truly invested.
Yeah, but that will, but
commitment that he's talking about.
But to Jay's point, time will tell. It always does, right? And that's why Ja has to say, essentially address that you may not believe me right now because I just said this and I'm a work in progress, and now we have to see the behavior follow through. I want to address what you said about the climate in which we live, Jay, and how it shouldn't be, people say, oh, you should be suspended for a season, let's say. He has unfortunately, it's getting incredibly easy to acquire firearms legally in many states in this country. And there are politicians who, after massacres in schools, which also amazingly, the laws haven't changed to require greater responsibility. In fact, they changed in the opposite direction. And right afterward, politicians pose with firearms constantly. You're right. So it would seem out of proportion to say, wait, he showed a firearm and now he's gone for a season, right? On the other hand, and if you saw, let's say, a player with a gun, but they were hunting or something like that, that would be fine, right? So it depends on the context as well. And how does race play into all of that? I think those are all valid questions. But what I like about the NBA is just because the values across much of this country have become so debased because those politicians answer to the NRA, right? Mm-hmm. Adam Silver is saying that's not us. We're the NBA, and we have civilized standards here. And we want the participants in our game to live up to a civilized standard. And to Ja's credit, he is not running around right now saying, well, what about this? Whataboutism, that and that and that. He's saying, I take responsibility, and you might not believe me right now because I just did, and it seemed like nothing changed. And essentially he hopes that his behavior will prove itself over time. And that's, I think, what you're pointing to and Key, what you're hoping for, and so am I, right? But there will be a hefty punishment here. There's no doubt about it. And good for the NBA.
Well, if it is a hefty punishment, it is well-deserved. This is his second offense carrying a gun. I don't care if he was in the car with his friend. I don't care if he was walking. I don't care if he was hunting. He can have a gun. Yes, we all understand that. It says, yes, to Tennessee, you can carry without a light, all that. I get it. But you already got in trouble for dealing with a gun. Okay, they already done told you, the NBA, they don't want you dealing with guns.
And then
that's
you do
the
it
problem
again.
for me. Mm-hmm. Then you do it again.
It's reflective, even if the issue wasn't firearms, if it was something else. It's reflective of impaired judgment, of out of control behavior, 100%. Right? Of immaturity.
If they told him don't walk down the street with a brush in your hand,
and you did
it, that's like, come on, man.
That's the bigger issue.
The man that already told you don't do it.
All right. The 76ers, meantime, have moved on from Doc Rivers. Is this Embiid's team in Philadelphia or Harden's? Is Harden staying? Is D'Antoni in next? Because what does this all mean? KJM.
Breaking news. The Philadelphia 76ers have fired their head coach, Doc Rivers.
On Sunday, the Sixers lost the game. I said immediately that they just cost Doc Rivers' job. I don't think it was the right decision.
More Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max next.